Good morning, everybody. Hi. We are recording at the same time. So if you're watching, I am Madonna from Mad Bees Quilt and Sew. And I am going to share the third demo in the Demo December days. And so I've got some people in my studio audience today. Oh, I see Robin coming in. I did show yesterday a little bit about the instructions of putting together the poinsettia. And so I completed the third one that I've done last night. And that is the one that has the little bit of Mylar, thank you. The Mylar in it, and it is not recommended by Kimberbell to do it because the stitching was not designed for Mylar. But can I do it? Absolutely. Do I love the way that it turned out? Yes, and then some. It really just adds a nice elegance to it. So in the stitching steps, you wind up with two hoopings. In the first hooping, it does your green leaf, it does the felt portion, and then it has a third section that is where you put down velvet. Instead of putting down the velvet, yes, velvet. Okay, so there's velvet in your kits. Okay, so it does felt, green leaf, felt, pink part. And then this one is actually velveteen, velvet, and it's two-sided. You put one piece on the front and one piece on the back. Instead, I put the felt in there and in this part, and put across the top of the one, I put a piece of the Mylar. I didn't put it on both pieces because I didn't want it to all be shiny. I just thought that this added a nice bit of texture to it and a little bit of elegance to it. I did talk about for a second also this product. This is called the Ultimate Glue. We do not carry it in the store. It is a product that we used to be able to get at Hobby Lobby. We can't get it there anymore either, but you can get it on Amazon still. And you know, I don't boast on Amazon, but you can get it on there. It's not expensive, but it's a permanent glue that's malleable. It actually can still bend. It still has flex to it. I used it on day one in the basket to close up the seam. So this seam has not been sewn. It is only glued in place, and I could still go in and actually sew through it because it's that soft. And I used it because I am not a fan of hot glue. I don't like those strings it makes. I can never get those strings to go away, and then it would have been into this and it would have looked ugly. So I just used a pretty large size dollop of this to hold the centerpiece. The other pieces are all attached in the embroidery. This top piece is attached as a lasting step, okay? And so when you rinse this, if you take that center one and kind of make it so it has a dent to it, so it kind of goes in, then it just sticks in there really nicely. So I'll pass this around so everybody in here can see it. I would not touch the Mylar because I don't want it coming out, okay? But you can look at it. Okay, yesterday my demo was on the Hexie pot holder. Oh, I still haven't tied my thread. Sorry, guys. Just tucked them in the back. It's the Hexie pot holder. Oh, it looks really good on camera. The color contrast is really nice. So it's a fun project to make. A few years ago, after doing one of these demos, I came up with the idea to make it into a snowman. Oh. And so I'm so very fortunate that one of my customers sitting in the audience still had hers. Mine is probably upstairs somewhere. But I would watch for this next fall because it really is cute and it goes together very, very easily. So it's just a cute little wall hanging snowman. I mean, you could use it as a trivet if you wanted to, but just really fun. And I have to say thank you for bringing that in today. Thank you very much. Okay. So today we talked about, or we're going to talk about, making a trivet using a silicone mat in it. So this is a kit that we have here in the store, and it comes with a silicone mat and the instructions to do it. This silicone can actually hold heat up to 400 degrees. So pretty much anything that comes out of your oven can go on the top of this, okay? So in prepping for today, I'm going to pass this around so everybody can see it. In prepping for today, I decided that I would talk for a minute about a walking foot, because a walking foot is going to help with this greatly. Did you get to see that jar topper this side?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so,
Passed it.
okay, thank you. A walking foot is going to help with this project considerably. It really is going to pull my fabric through nicely. So many of you have machines now that have an IDT, which that's the FOF name for it. Bernina's name is a differential feed. It is a piece that pulls back from the backside and it pulls your fabric through your machine. That is a wonderful thing, but that actually works after the stitch is completed. It's designed for wider millimeter feed dogs because they don't hold your fabric as steady. So it's got one more little foot back there that helps pull it through straighter. A walking foot is designed to take multiple layers into your machine. So before the needle hits it, it helps to lift up so it's not putting pressure and dragging on it as it's going through. When you go to put your walking foot on your machine, it needs to go over the needle bar or through the needle bar. The needle bar goes right into that little slot there. And then this attaches to your machine. But the easiest way, doesn't matter what brand you have, is to drop your feed dogs first. If I lower my feed dogs, I don't have the drag when I'm taking it on. I find it's easiest if I come in from the inside of the machine and wrap around. And again, that doesn't matter what machine I have, it virtually works the same. Once I raise my feed dogs back up, they don't come back up. Everybody thinks that they should be right there. Once I take my first stitch, they will re-engage. And that's a thing that people get really frustrated about, is because they don't quite understand that. Okay, I'm going to do my first stitch, and now I could hear them even engage. Once I've done that, now my thread can be pulled through my foot and right back and underneath there. And now I've got both threads back and underneath. Okay, in the instructions for the silicone mat, they're a little bit backwards. You start with attaching your outside borders, but they're done differently than what we think. They actually go on being hugged with the wrong side of the fabric. So most of us are used to putting things on the correct way first. This is going to go, so I have right now, I have my silicone mat and I have an 8-inch square that absolutely matches it. Okay, so they go together. Okay, an absolute match. Then we have outside borders that go on it. They go on and they hug with the right side hugging it. And I'm going to pull this up just a hair. This to me seems backwards, okay? I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch or a light 1/4 of an inch, whatever works for you, on this piece here. And it's just backwards in my brain. My brain is not good at handling this. I probably read the instructions. I made the green one, but I made that probably, 2 years ago. Maybe 1.5 years ago. So I know how to do it, but I just have to remember how to do it. So I'm going to stitch this. I've got my walking foot on there because I don't want it to shift a lot. And honestly, my walking foot is having a hard time running this edge. We're gonna stop. We're gonna put a 1/4 inch foot on. Actually, a 1/4 inch foot or a zipper. Okay, so this turned out to be a hot mess using my walking foot. It is not straight at all, okay? I'm taking my walking foot off, but that's, you know what, sometimes we have to do that, you know? I didn't play with this last night because I was like, oh, I can do this. I got everything pressed, I got everything measured, I read those instructions 22 times. I am a visual learner, not a reader. I don't do well with reading instructions. So I'm going to take this out. Typically, I would tell you that I would lay my seam ripper right next to it and just go in there and pop it. But because of the silicone here, I don't want to put any stress on that. Can I make mistakes on the silicone? Absolutely. Is it going to leave a little bit of a hole? Yes, it is. It doesn't repair itself. Thank you. So I had Deanna grab me a Bernina seam ripper because the Bernina seam rippers have absolutely the best tip to get up and underneath. You could see me fighting with the other one. This just goes right underneath there. So if there's ever a tool that I really advocate, it's going to be a Bernina seam ripper.
The best.
The best, it is. I mean, the tip on it is so much sharper than any of the other ones. And the best seam ripper is a brand new one. Anytime you have a new one, it's wonderful. So now I've popped some of those stitches. I can go ahead and just give this a tug, and it's going to come right out for me. I should have stopped immediately. I thought, okay, maybe once it gets going, but once I did like 10 stitches, I already knew that my walking foot was not going to run that. And the reason it's not running it is because it is so flat in this outside edge here, and then it jumps up. My walking foot was hitting right where that that unlevel was, where that ridge was. So that's why your zipper foot or your 1/4 inch foot are going to be a better option. And I apologize for that. Somebody actually commented on my video that they were happy I made mistakes. Because you know what, they think that you know, I never make mistakes. Madonna makes every mistake there is possible.
Which
Today,
is why your classes are the best
Thank you.
classes.
Today I had to purchase 2 new half-yard cuts of fabric because I read those instructions 12 times yesterday on the class I'm teaching on Saturday. Man, they just, you know what? So it cost me an extra, you know, $14 to be able to fix it, but at least I know how to fix it because somebody else is going to do exactly what I did. I mean, they're going to, because, you know, the instructions are not always the best. But I'll tell you, is it turning out beautiful? Yes.
What are you teaching Saturday?
I'm teaching a paper piece Judy Niemeyer table topper.
Ah.
If you want a beginner paper piecing project, now I say that and then I tell you it was horrible. If you want a beginning one, honestly, there's only three pieces. There's only 3 pieces in each. That could be my problem. There's only 3 pieces into each part of it, but her templates were not as clear as I think they should be. And so I've already come up with a better way to be able to instruct this and get the best technique. Okay, we're lined up again. We're going to hug it with this piece. Now it's going to sew perfectly for everyone to watch. Oh, it already sits level. See, I knew I should have just stopped after those first 10 stitches. So on the Bernina 1/4 inch foot, it has its outside edge. It has a little foot, that piece that sticks out, and just inside of that, it has a measurement for 1/8 of an inch. And that's what I'm using on the outside edge of my fabric. You know that song, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Yes, yes. So Deanna is collecting CDs and putting designs on. If you have, oh my gosh, what did I do there? I must not have had it tucked in all the way. God, guys, I am really giving you all the bad things to do today. Wow.
Wow, is Deanna going to have to edit this?
Exactly. Remember that song, if you're happy and you know it? Pay attention.
I thought you were just showing us to watch for when we do it.
That's right. I'm giving you all the bad things to not do. I had no idea I missed it. None. My brain didn't even go there. So you cannot pin through the silicone. Okay, so you cannot pin through the silicone. It's like working with cork, it's like working with leather. Once you put that hole into it, it does not come out. This is truly when I said I was doing such a good job, when I was happy there.
It was a brief moment.
It was a brief moment. Deanna, I think it's time for a Diet Coke. There's some in the fridge there.
You're going to drink to this?
I'm going to drink to this.
What's wrong with what's on the floor?
That's iced tea.
Ah.
That's what's wrong with it. There you go. Oh, I can hear it opening already. Exactly. It does have that moment to it. Okay, am I far enough back? No, better go back a few more stitches.
So is this where we could use clips?
Yes, this would be a great opportunity to use the clips that I have sitting right in front of me here.
I don't open cans with my nails.
Oh yes, we wouldn't want to break a nail.
That's sound alone.
As I choke to death now. Okay, the third time is absolutely the charm. I'm going to look down at my machine the entire time I sew this. The best part is that it's inside. Nobody but you guys can get in there. You little booger.
Good thing you were watching.
Clips,
Yeah.
exactly. Clips would be perfect right now. If you go larger than 1/8 of an inch, you'll totally be fine also. They give you plenty of fabric. So what's gonna happen now is we actually take this and we press it back the opposite way. So that's our edge on there. Okay, and the reason they're doing that is so that you don't have as much tension on that outside edge. We've just hole perforated this. And if we were to just put it on traditionally, that pull is going to be so much stronger. This way we've got the fabric that's keeping it in place better for us. So we're gonna do both sides, both of our short sides. Gosh, I hope I used the right ones. Yes, okay. I was so prepped this morning. I looked so efficient when I came in here. I was so pleased, and then I sewed it wrong. Okay, in the pattern instructions, it also has, if you want to make this a pot holder with a hand placement in it. So instead of it just being a trivet, they've added the instructions to be able to make it both. We are going to do that, so I can show you how to do it. Once I have these two sides in place, I'm going to take it to the ironing board and press this. And I want to make sure that I press both. I missed on that one too. Oh, mercy, girls. Can you imagine how many times I sew tea party projects before you come for tea party?
Well, I can say that everybody that I show the pillow to love it.
I caught the back fabric, I just didn't catch the front silicone. I do know what I'm doing, really.
Well, I think I really appreciate you demoing all these mistakes for us like you're making them.
Exactly.
But really it's part of the script.
The script? Oh, I like that answer,
Yes.
Linda. You're funny.
Yeah. It was totally planned.
Not twice.
I'm not on a script.
So the funnier part is that you guys know who Grace is that works here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Grace is wonderful. She actually thought that she could write a script for me to read off on comment sold. Okay, so like, hi, I'm Madonna from Mad Bees, and it's written up there. I will tell you, it is like cue cards, okay? It is so hard for me to look at that and say it because I'm reading it like, okay, wait, does that make sense? Wait, what is that? You know, so it's like, no, just tell me what you want me to say. I can hear it and do it, but to read it? So can you imagine poor Sister Margaret Jean trying to teach me how to read, okay? I mean, the poor woman. She is, you know, she is a saint. I'm sure she is. Saint Sister Margaret Jean. Okay, hug this way the hell. Oh, I mean,
Or use your clips.
no, I'm not going to use those clips.
They just look pretty.
They do. They actually don't look that pretty either. I started on the other side. Oh, look it! Wow, it sews really nice when you do it right. Hi everybody, I'm Madonna from Mad Bees. I don't know what I am doing today.
Some days are
The nice thing about
Let's not
that
even
is-
talk about it. It still didn't catch that end. This is just being my nemesis today.
Well, I hope this is your hardest challenge all day.
Okay, so after we do this, the best part is you can iron right on the mat, okay? So you can actually put this right onto it and put it in place. We then are going to complete the other two sides. We're not going to show that side. See, we're going to complete the other two sides in the exact same format. We're going to next move on to the quilting portion. I do know how to quilt, okay? We're going to change and put our walking foot on again. Drop your feed dogs, attach your walking foot, because we're using 3 layers at this point in time.
And do you have to use special batting?
No, yes. Okay, so no, there are battings out there designed for, come on you, designed for things that go into the oven, the toaster oven, I mean the microwave, not the toaster oven, please. Oh my gosh. That go into
They melt in the toaster oven, that I know.
Well, so I have to tell you, we just had somebody send us some pictures of what was happening with their microwave bowl. It was burning in the microwave. Well, they had it in too long. I mean, those are only designed for 2 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. They're not designed for 20 minutes. Anything that's dry, well, she was cooking a potato with it, okay?
Oh.
You know it's gonna take 7 to 10 minutes to do a potato. That's almost too long. And if the potato's too dry, then it's gonna catch on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the popcorn bag, you know? Once the popcorn starts to burn, then the bag starts to burn also, and it's because it's become too dry. So you have to be careful of that. You don't really want things that are polyester because they're going to melt. But on the same token, polyester's melting temperature is outrageously high. We're not going to really be at that. So if you have a little bit of polyester in here, it's not going to, you know, an 80-20 is not going to be the end of the world. I wouldn't use Thermore. I wouldn't use, we have a product out here called Battleizer, which we really like for a lot of projects, but I wouldn't use it for this one. Okay. Battleizer is wonderful, but I wouldn't put it on this one. Okay, so in this project, we have 2 pieces that get quilted. One of them is actually the pocket handle spot. So this is the outside. This is going to be where my hand could go in so I could grab, okay? This piece here in the instructions, it wants you to have your decorative piece of fabric. It wants a piece of batting, and then it wants a piece of muslin. I didn't have any muslin at home, so I just grabbed a piece of fabric that I'm never going to use. And you cut these all larger so that you can quilt them. And you can choose any quilt pattern you want. I'm just going to do some straight line quilting. I have these polka dots on here that are going to be my guides. And I'm just going to go from polka dot to polka dot to polka dot and just go straight across. It does not have to be a ton of quilting. All you're doing is making sure that when you wash it, feed dogs, when you wash it, it's not going to scrunch up or it's not going to fall apart on you. I will also elongate my stitch. These 2 pieces are oversized, so don't worry about the crazy ends or your thread tails because we're going to cut those off. I'm going to take my stitch length on this machine to a 3, which is just going to give me a nice long stitch. And I'm truly just eyeballing from polka dot to polka dot. This piece here, only a small portion of it are you even going to see. Does it matter if I go back and forth and back and forth? If you're using your walking foot, it shouldn't matter if you go all the same direction because you won't really get that pull. Another great time to use a walking foot is when you're putting on borders so that your foot doesn't drag your border all to one end. Oh, I don't have polka dots uniform on here. Okay, we're gonna have to do something in the middle there. The less you hold on to your fabric, the better stitch you're going to have. My fingers are here, but they're barely touching it. If you try to direct too much, you're going to get elongated stitches, you're going to get short stitches. The faster you sew, the straighter you sew. It's fact. The faster you drive your car, the straighter you drive.
The more people you get, the more hours.
On, off, reverse.
Oh, exactly. So the rule of thumb with quilting is dependent on what type of batting you're using. I know that this is a blend, so I have plenty of quilting with just doing that little bit of a grid on it. Would I make this more gridded if it was something for a family member, friend? I would want it to be much more uniform. We're just quilting for fact here. Next piece is this one. What am I going to pick on here? I'm going to pick those little swirlies. So on this machine, on my number 4 stitch, it's a wave stitch. So I'm going to increase my length, and the width on it already came in at a 5, but I'm going to take my length to about a 4, and it's just going to give me a fun wavy stitch. So you can quilt with a wavy stitch easy peasy. This wave stitch on here is a great way, I wouldn't leave it this wide, but it's a great way to attach binding. It looks really cute, and you don't have to work really hard. But you can see I don't have much fabric shift, and a lot of times if you were to be taking 3 layers and you were doing this with it, you would notice that torquing that happens. Okay, one more line, and then we're going to attach binding. So this pocket does have binding attached to the very top edge of it. So as soon as I'm done quilting it, I want to take it and trim off the excess that's up here. There's a little bit shy because I want this to be nice and square for it. So I'm going to take it to my mat. I'm going to line it up. My little ruler stay over here. No. And I'm just going to straighten off this edge here. In the pattern, of course, there's exact measurements of what everything needs to be. Follow the directions, don't follow the teacher. Okay, we have, this is not traditional binding. This is like a casing that's being put on there. It started off as a 2-inch wide strip. It got folded to the center and then folded to the center again. This then is just going to go over the top of this and hug it. This is a time where I like Roxanne glue. So I am going to grab my Roxanne glue, and I am going to put just a little line of the glue along the top edge here. When you draw with this glue, it automatically like turns into little bubbles as it sits. So sometimes I'll say like, oh, you've got little dots of the glue all along the top line there, and that's kind of what naturally happens with it. So it looks like just little bitty polka dots. It's really thin, nice glue to work with. We're going to take our casing piece and we're going to set it right on top of there and make sure it comes all the way around to the back. So I'm just lining up that outside edge there. So it's all right at the very tippy top there. And then I'm going to glue the other side in place. I don't want to hear one of you say you should have glued that little silicone mat in place, Madonna.
I was thinking it, but
You can't.
I made a conscious decision not to say
That was
it
not
out
a good
loud.
idea. Well, the thing is that you can't. Silicone doesn't allow things to stick to it like that. Remember, like your sticky mess in the kitchen, your cookies, they don't stick. None of that stuff sticks to it. So, ha. Okay. So, I've got it glued in place, but my favorite part of this is if I just grab the iron, I can give it a good press and it really holds it right in place for you. So attaching my regular binding, I sew it on one side and then I flip it and glue it with the Roxanne. Then when I go in and hand sew this into place, it hand sews so easy because it's already sitting there for you.
And you don't have to have 500 clippies.
You don't have to own 500 clippies. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this, and I'm going to leave on my number 4, but I'm going to take it narrower and shorter. So right now I have it at a 5 width. I'm going to take it down to a 3 width, and I'm going to take my length down to a 3. And that's just going to grab that outside edge for me nicely. And I'll pass this around so you can see it. I have got my walking foot on here, and I've got it so that the inside edge is hugging the binding strip. I am truly only worried about one side of it because the other side's going to be on the inside. I just need it to be held on both sides. But if it doesn't hit perfect, I'm not that stressed over that. Although you can probably tell you don't stress over much, okay? We're making a pot holder.
That if you're like me, you'll never use.
Oh, it's actually really good except for one little spot there. Okay, so there it is. If you want to pass that around, Chris. Thank you, so you can take a peek at it. So it just gives a wave stitch to it. It kind of mimics the same idea as the fabric. It mimics the same idea as the quilting. But the nice thing is that it's going to show you that you can attach traditional binding with your walking foot and it looked nice. I mean, I do it a lot on baby quilts. Baby quilts, to me, that hand stitching, I don't know how durable that's going to be. You know, that's going to be an easy spot. And for most kids' blankies, that's what's going to be worn out first, is that binding. I was at my daughter's house and a quilt got caught in the washer door. So that was the spot that got caught because the big quilt isn't going to have anything to. So she's got about 12 inches worth of binding that needs to be replaced on a quilt. Well, if I hand sew it in, it's much harder to get in there and get that out. Machine, I'm going to go right over the top of it. I can repair right over it and then it'll blend in. Nobody will ever know it happened. Okay. The next piece I'm going to make is not this piece. That's the piece I cut off. Okay, I lost
underneath your
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Is a loopy, because I am loopy, a loop to be able to make a little holder on there, a hanger on it. They have you, again, this is a 1 1/4 inch strip, and we're doing the double press with it again. One of the things that I noticed was that I'm going to leave that on theirs, it reminded me of the pot holders my mom used to get. Remember when they used to do the fold where it kind of looked like a triangle? That's the kind of fold that they did on this. And I really like the way that that looks. It just reminded me of old school. So that's what we're going to do.
William Sedola, they
Still do it that way? Yes. A lot of them are now just a loop though. And they just don't look as nice. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. So this just has the walking foot on. I have my traditional straight stitch on it. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we are going to run out of bobbin right there. Of course we are. Yep. Okay, so we've got our strip right here. I'm going to clean up my end threads and then I'm going to go to the ironing board and I'm going to press this like we do a mitered border or a mitered corner. So it's going to have the two sides come together like this, and then we are going to press this so it's flat, and I will show you in just 1 second. The other thing it reminds me of is a collar or a front placket, you know, so it's got the corner and the back end of it. If you do this so the stitching is towards the outside edge, it looks nicer than if you put it down the center. That's what we typically do, is put it in the center, but I want to do it in the outside edge here. Otherwise it has a tendency to want to pop open in that little spot. And I'm really hitting this with the iron here. I want to make sure that this is firm and in place. Okay, so on the one side it looks like that. On the opposite side it looks like that. But if you do it with the seam opening on the outside corners, it works much nicer. Many of you have a tacking stitch on your machine, which means it'll go forward and backwards or it knots in one place. That's a great way to be able to grab that right there. On this machine, I am just gonna put 2 stitches on either side and then pull them to the back side so that I can trim them. Oh, you can't do that until you wind a bobbin though. Chicken, chicken, and who's gonna win? Me.
So you didn't have to stick that thread through the little.
I don't ever stick it through the little hole.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't have to do that.
Yes.
Whenever I tried to wind it, I always wound it the wrong way, and so it would always unwind. I like.
Well, I could show you a picture of on my phone of what I did last night. I chose not to unthread the top while I was winding a bobbin on a spool stand. And I'm talking to Tim on the phone at the same time as the bobbin's winding, as the dogs are barking, and there is this like burr right here. And he said to me, "Are you making a fly fishing?" Thank you, Tim. I love you too. So truly, if there's a mistake that can be made, Madonna does do it.
Well, I've always rubbed your hand wheel like I did.
Yes, that's also the other one. This threader's not working. Now that I can see it. So I will tell you, I'm very fortunate to feel I'm confident always in my Bernina machines working. This was a trade-in. Tim took it in on Monday, and on Tuesday morning I sat down and sewed behind it. I didn't oil it, I didn't anything. He's like, "You're gonna really sew on that?" I'm like, "Yep." So it does need a new needle threader though. I just found that out.
You're just starting your list for them.
Exactly.
In, like
It needs a thread stand. Okay, and we're off. People at home are gonna be like, "That woman is just absolutely nuts, isn't she?"
Yeah. But we love her.
I just really think that these just look more finished, classier. They just have a really nice look to them when they just have that nice little finish to them. I mean, it's still serving the same purpose, but I don't know, it adds something to it. You know, sometimes it's the little things that make the project great. Okay, so we've quilted, we have got our pieces ready. It is just like every other pot holder or trivet that you've made before. It is then a stacking project. So we will be stacking our finished trivet right side up. Gosh, I cannot even believe I missed that. Those of you that are here later this afternoon, I will be finishing this, okay? Then it goes.
Your loopy's on the floor.
Oh,
right
thank you.
there.
And there's the head on that. Wow, it's gonna be a long day, isn't it? Maybe I should go home while the going's good. Okay, so it is going to be right side up of our trivet. It is going to be right side down of our pocket. It is going to be right side down of our backing. Goes all on top of itself. So everything has trim measurements in the pattern. We will be sewing around 3/4 of it, and then we will be going in and just hand sewing that last little spot shut. And then we'll be able to turn it through that. Just remember, right sides together in all of this, okay? That's where you can have the little bit of confusion with it. But once again, it's pretty straightforward. The instructions, the only part that I struggled with in the instructions was that very first step that you sew with it having the wrong side and then pulling it open. It doesn't make sense in our brains, okay? But it is to encapsulate that outside edge and then pull it forward. I grabbed a patriotic fabric today to show you because the silicone works the best when it is on a heavy, high contrast fabric. The silicone kind of muddies up the fabric, but something like this patriotic is awesome underneath it. Okay, so the higher contrast you have, the better that these work. Can you just purchase these silicone mats and use them? Yes, and I'll tell you, they're at a pretty stinking good price, okay? Because silicone mats are expensive in the store. So it can be used just without fabric, or it can be used with fabric. It just gives more dimension and more look to it, and then you made it. So it's very fun. Any questions? I will be getting designs to you. People that are here, you've got your USBs. I can load those up, or Deanna will load those up for you. If you are local and you want to come in and have it put on a USB, we can do that. Otherwise, Deanna will be sending out to anybody else who isn't here. I think I made it. I am so sorry. You know, if there's a way to do it wrong, I'm good at it, okay? I'm really good at it. So everybody have a great night, and remember, this is the place you want to be. Bye now.
Thank
If
you.
you don't mind hitting it off.